Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on MMA Time. We are today with Marc Raimondi, who is a journalist at MMAfighting.com. Thank you for being here with us, Marc.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. So we are ready and we are going to talk about the first subject. We would like to take your insight about Team Alpha Male. Everything started when TJ Dillashaw left the team to join Dwayne Ludwig, his coach. And things escalated with Conor McGregor and Tough. And there is a lot of drama. And
Yep.
I don't want to only talk about the dramas because we can see that Chad Mendes is a bit of exhausted with all that. The idea of Alpha Male team was created in 2004, if I'm right, by Uriah Faber, and it was more or less founded on the idea of friendship between the fighters, no real structure,
Right.
no coaches, and the fighters training among each others. And it seems that this factor of friendship, when you need to get ready for title shots, can yes, have a bad effect on it. So we would like to take your view
insights.
or your insights on it.
Right. Well, I think that Team Alpha Male has tried to evolve over the years, and they've brought in different coaches, and they brought in Dwayne Ludwig a few years ago to help out, and he really became a great coach for them because a lot of those guys, almost all of those guys, have a wrestling background. And Dwayne Ludwig is an excellent striker, and he's an excellent striking coach. So you saw that team take a upward climb after Dwayne came because he was able to teach them technical kickboxing to go along with already great wrestling and already great athleticism. I mean, everyone on that team they're great athletes. They're all in shape. They're all fit. As far as the friendships thing go, I don't know if Team Alpha Male is that much different from a lot of the other teams. The one thing that I will say is different about it is that Uriah Faber is kind of he's not the coach of the team, but he's kind of like the patriarch of the team, if that makes any sense. He recruited all those guys from when they were in high school and college, when they were just wrestlers. He brought them almost all onto the team, and they were together for a very long time. But he wasn't really the head coach, because I mean, you see a lot of gyms when you hear the gym, you think of the head coach. You hear Jackson's MMA, you think of Greg Jackson. With Team Alpha Male, you think of Uriah Faber. He's not the coach, but he's the most known person at that gym.
And don't you?
But just like with anything else, guys, though, there's friendships at every gym. I think that this one has been built up. There's been a little bit more attention on this, but the stuff with TJ leaving and that kind of thing happens a lot in MMA.
Yeah.
Guys leave gyms, they go somewhere else, they think they're better off. It just this one just seemed to get a lot of attention because people like Uriah Faber. He's very popular. Conor McGregor brought it up on The Ultimate Fighter. It just seemed like there's a lot more spotlight put on this particular incident. But this kind of thing, with guys leaving gyms and sometimes there's hard feelings, it happens all the time in MMA. And for me, I think if you feel as a fighter that you're going to get better somewhere else and you think that's where it's best for you to be with Dwayne Ludwig and be in Colorado, more power to him, man. It's your choice as a fighter. You have a very small window to excel and to make as much money as you can. And if you think that's what's best for you, then good for TJ.
Yeah, about that, Dominic Cruz was saying basically that fighters there have outgrown the situation. He was attacking directly Uriah Faber. What do you make of all the comments, all the heat coming from Cruz?
I mean, I think Dominic Cruz is very honest in that he believes everything that he says. But Dominic Cruz has never trained at Team Alpha Male. He doesn't actually know what goes on inside the walls of that gym. He doesn't know. All he knows is from what he sees from the outside, which is kind of what we all see.
Yeah.
Team Alpha Male has been one of the most successful training camps in the history of MMA. They've put together an incredible roster of talent, and they've developed all those guys to a very, very, very high level.
Yeah.
Joseph Benavidez has been one of the best flyweights in the world. He's one of the best bantamweights in the world for a long time. Chad Mendes is one of the best featherweights in the world. Uriah Faber has been one of the best at bantamweight and featherweight for a long time. TJ obviously came up there. You know, I mean, these guys are at the top of their division year after year after year. So, I mean, has the sport passed them by? I mean, that's so hard to say. Look, Uriah Faber went out and he hired Dwayne Ludwig to be the head coach of the team, right, a couple of years ago. It didn't work out, but he actually made the effort to go out there and get a really good head coach for that team. Tried to do the same thing after Ludwig left when he hired Martin Kampman. That didn't work out either. But he's trying to get a good head coach in there. It is not for lack of trying. Sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't think it's passed them by. I think they're going to be fine. I think that, you know, the climate right now, those guys have been there for a long time. Maybe they feel like other places will be. Maybe they want to change things up. Joseph Benavidez has lost twice to Demetrius Johnson, so he's in a tough spot right now. Maybe he wants to mix things up. He wants to go to elevation. He wants to train a little bit at Jackson's. It's understandable. He's been at Team Alpha Male for a long time. He's gotten to a very high level there, but maybe he feels like he's hit a little bit of a ceiling there. Yeah. And that's not necessarily a criticism of Team Alpha Male. It's just life. Sometimes you're in a place, it could be great, you could love it, but you may just feel like you're done with that. You know, you're done with that part of your life, and you need to go somewhere else and get some new training and try to up your game somewhere else. That's not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not. I don't think it's an indictment of Team Alpha Male at all.
Just a question, and correct me if you feel that I'm wrong, but for watching the Ultimate Fighter with Uriah Faber coaching it, I felt that he had the potential to become a great head coach. Don't you feel that the situation is going to resolve itself when he is going to retire and maybe take this role of being the head coach of the Team Alpha Male and giving his real advice to everyone instead of at the same time competing? And the second part is, don't you feel that because almost all the fighters in Alpha Male team are bantamweight, lightweight, or flyweight, and they are at almost the same, more or less the same level. You get Cody Garbrandt with an upcoming fighter also. Don't you think that it can cause some trouble to have that kind of those numbers, of fighters in the same team at the same weight level?
Right. Your first question about Uriah being head coach, yeah, I definitely think so. I think that he only has maybe a couple more years left fighting. He's probably going to fight Cruz for the belt next. If he loses that fight, who knows? You know, maybe that's it. Maybe he hangs it up. I don't think he's going to be around much longer. He's actually said that, I think, publicly a few times, that, you know, he's getting up there in a little bit in age, and he's got a lot of other things going on. He's got his apparel company. He's got a lot of businesses. He's got the gym. Yeah, I think that's a natural fit. I think he'll you know, when he retires, he'll become the head coach, and that will maybe alleviate a lot of the things that are going on now. As far as everyone being very close in weight, and yeah, that's true, and that could definitely cause some drama, because eventually some of these guys are gonna have to fight each other. But the thing is, when you're in a camp like that, when you're in a training camp, it's actually very beneficial for you to have guys or girls, you know, in some cases, around the same weight as you. If you're able to train and spar with people who are the same weight, it ups your game, and you know it's a lot harder to train with guys who are smaller or guys who are bigger. And I think that's one of the reasons why Team Alpha Male has been so successful, is because they've had training partners around their same skill level, very, very good, high level guys at that same weight or around that same weight. I think that's actually been one of the keys to their success. But yes, with that comes the possibility that eventually these guys are going to have to fight each other, and that goes for, you know, for any gym. It just seems like Team Alpha Male has a greater concentration of the smaller guys, you know. So yeah. I think that's really why it's been magnified. But I think it's been good for them overall.
Yeah, but that's the limitations of an individual sport, because even though you train with guys, you might be friends, but at the end of the day, you have to fight these guys if you want to go to the top, to be at the top level. So that's the limitations of the individual sports. I believe so.
Right. It's one of those things where, you know, like you said, MMA is an individual sport. There's only one guy out there. You know, you don't get there's no tag team. There's no teammate in there with you. And you have to train with guys too. So you need sparring partners, you know, you need training partners. But when when it comes down to it, you may have to fight that guy. That's just how it goes. I mean, that's the way the sport is. It's different. Boxing is very different, where the training camp kind of revolves around the one guy, and the coach brings in different training partners and different sparring partners for that one guy. But it's known that training camp is all around that one guy. In MMA, it works differently. It's definitely more of a team. Inside the gym, it's more of a team, but when they get out there in the cage, it's absolutely an individual sport.
Yeah, and on a philosophical standpoint, do you believe it's better to have teams really, really strong, like maybe Team Alpha Male or AKA, when they say iron sharpens iron, but when you go at it in the gym, you might get injured, you might, you can, so it's really hard. Or do you believe it's best to have a camp a bit lighter, but to go to arrive at top shape the day of the fight? What do you believe?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, and maybe this is a cop-out of an answer, but I think that it's different for everybody. I think every athlete responds differently to their different surroundings. I think that if you look at Daniel Cormier, he was an Olympic wrestler, but would he have become as good of an MMA fighter if he didn't have Cain Velasquez as one of his top partners, and he didn't have Luke Rockhold there in the gym with him? And would Luke Rockhold have been as good if he didn't have Cormier, and if he didn't have guys like John Fitch and Josh Koscheck there when he was coming up to train with? Josh Thompson, guys like that who were very, very good. It's a good question. However, then you look at someone like Demetrius Johnson, who is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, doesn't train with any other top fighters. It's only really him and his coach Matt Hume in the gym, and they bring in some training partners. He does have Bibiano Fernandez come in, who's an excellent fighter for ONE FC. He has him come in once in a while, but really it's just Demetrius Johnson working with Matt Hume and a few other guys in the gym. Demetrius Johnson trains with guys who work for like Microsoft, who live in Seattle, who are like white collar businessmen. Those are like his main training partners. So that works for him because he's the best in his weight class and he's one of the best in the world. But for some other guys, it may be different. I think it changes for every single person. I think that the iron sharpens iron concept is accurate for some people, but for other people, it doesn't work. And Demetrius Johnson doesn't get hurt a lot. Yeah. That guy every 3-4 months, that guy is ready to fight. Doesn't get hurt a lot. I also say Conor McGregor is kind of similar. He doesn't have a lot of high level training partners. Gunnar Nelson's obviously a guy that he brings in and he trains with a lot. But does he have a lot of elite, high-level guys the way that Luke Rockhold has Cormier and Cormier has Velasquez? No. And the training camp is very much geared toward him. He has very much a boxing type of training camp where everyone knows this is Conor McGregor's training camp. We're here to help him get better. So that's kind of a different type of thing as well. I think you got to find what works best for you. And guys like Conor McGregor, can have the ability to do that because he is kind of the big fish at that gym, so it can all revolve around him. Yeah. Demetrius Johnson has that too. When you're first coming up, you don't have that luxury really. You don't have that luxury of having everything about you. Absolutely, so I mean, and then to the other side of that, Brock Lesnar is a guy that kind of had his own training camp and revolved it all around him, and that didn't really work out that great for him. He was very good. He won the UFC title, but at the end of the day, he couldn't really compete with the guys like Cain Velasquez and like Alistair Overeem, the high level, athletic heavyweights like that. And some may say that it's because he really didn't get a lot of hard training with guys who were his peers. He kind of, he revolved everything around himself and didn't get that iron sharpens iron concept. So I think, that you got to find out what's best for you, and that's really the key to succeeding.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you get a chance to listen to the Tyron Woodley podcast, Morning Wood Show, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was talking about it because he went, I do believe, for a training session at AKA, saying that if you don't go there at your top level, even for training, you won't go out alive. And he thought that because Rockhold was so hard on him every day at the gym, that he could overcome against Weidman his illness and the fact that he was under medicine for that fight. Mm-hmm. And exactly, you get instead Conor McGregor that said that he want a light training before a fight and want to rest his mind and
even rest his body.
And even rest his body, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really interesting because even fighters, I think, don't have the real answer until they tried both sides of the of that training method.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to go to switch to the subject, and we wanted to go back to talk about the welterweight, division. We'd love to have your take on the welterweight division because it's clearly the best division in MMA. At least in my eyes, it's the best division in MMA. And it's really deep, top to bottom. You got only top guys. I don't see any weaknesses. Even a Mike Pyle, I believe, is 40 and is still great.
Very tough.
So I don't know. Who do you see getting a title shot next? Who should be in line for a title shot next? Should they play it like a bracket, and everybody should fight each other to get a title shot? What do you see for the division?
Well, I don't think, like you said, there's so many great fighters and there's so many guys at the top of the division that there really is no wrong answer. I don't think they could really go wrong either way. But I think what they're waiting for is they're waiting for UFC 196, and I think they're waiting to see what happens with Conor McGregor. Because I really do think that if he beats the Anjos, he's going to ask to go to welterweight and fight Lawler for the title.
That's crazy.
I really think
do you see Conor beating RDA?
I do think he'll beat Dos Anjos. Yes, okay. I do.
So for you, it's inevitably you will have a Lawler against.
Ability.
No, but if he wins, we'll have a Lawler against Conor McGregor.
We might.
Okay, if he wins and he asks for it, he gets whatever he wants. Yeah. You know, they have to do it. And that would be huge, you know, for UFC 200. That would be really insane. So, I mean, I don't know how he would do against Lawler. I mean, Lawler terrifies me. Yeah. He's a scary dude.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
He's a really, really bad dude. Man, but I would love to see that fight. That would just be nuts.
Yeah.
So if McGregor wins, it could very well be him. If not, I mean, you have Woodley, you have Carlos Condit, you have Wonder Boy. You can make a case for any one of those guys to possibly getting the title shot.
Just Condit, to know, you have the Tyron Woodley who was promised a title shot. You have Condit. Everyone saw him winning, and if everyone didn't see him winning, they said, "Okay, immediate rematch." And you had a Wonder Boy who had a tremendous victory against Hendricks.
Right.
How would you rank? Title shot promise, Condit who deserves a rematch, and Wonder Boy who is an upper-comer in this division,
or even Rory.
How would I rank it? I mean, honestly, I don't know how I'd rank it. I would have put Woodley right up there before the Wonder Boy fight, but I think he's third on that list right now. I mean, if you want to give it to Wonder Boy, he just beat Johnny Hendricks. Hendricks has beaten Condit. You know, he's held the title before. How can you say that Wonder Boy doesn't deserve the title shot after beating one of the best guys in the division for the last, few years?
Yeah.
But then you saw Condit, and Condit, a lot of people thought he won that fight against Lawler. I didn't. I thought Lawler won.
Oh, you did?
I thought Lawler won the fight.
The third round, even the third round?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I thought Lawler won.
You're one of the first people we talked to that said that Lawler won.
I thought Lawler won because I thought he hit them. He landed the more damaging blows. I thought he hit the bigger blows. Condit in that third round, I didn't think he really hit Lawler with anything that significant. Whereas Lawler actually hit the bigger punches in that round.
Okay.
So that was my feeling about that. But I know that a lot of people were split on it. I know a lot of people had Condit winning. So if you think Condit won that fight, and a lot of people do, how can you tell Condit that he doesn't deserve to get a rematch? I don't know. I'm torn between those two things. I don't think. I don't think.
We didn't even mention GSP.
Then you throw GSP in the mix, man. I don't know. I mean, put the names in a hat. I don't know what to tell you. But I will tell you one thing: if McGregor wins, he's getting that title shot. So the other guys better find another opponent real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless GSP comes back, then the whole thing changes.
Then it's Conor versus GSP. Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, to me, I wouldn't even have GSP fight for the title right away off the bat. I think that you put him in like a super fight. You put him in with like Anderson Silva, somebody like that. Maybe even McGregor. GSP versus McGregor. Why the hell not? Just do something crazy.
I think the best situation for everyone to answer that question is Conor getting the title shot against Lawler, because everyone would see and agree to it. But I feel that if it's not Conor, Condit deserves a rematch, not because I did see him winning, but because it was very close, and because Wonderboy had a great fight against Hendricks, but Hendricks is not in great shape those months. And I do believe that Tyron Woodley, because he didn't fight for quite some time, should fight against Thompson and let Condit Lawler do the rematch, and then the winner between Thompson and Tyron Woodley would have naturally a title shot, and no one would argue with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that would be great. I would have no problem with that. And if you wanted to go the other way and say, give Wonderboy the title shot and have Condit and Woodley have a rematch, I wouldn't be torn on that either, because a lot of people, Condit got hurt in that fight, and a lot of people feel like he was going to win that fight before he got hurt. So, who knows?
Yeah,
The division is great. Not only is there no wrong answer, every single one of these fights are great fights. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Really,
no wrong answer, just wrong answers to the fighters who will be disappointed not to get the title shot. But for the public, there's no
even Damian Maia, because he's a nightmare stylistically to everybody. He's so good at jiu-jitsu that he's a nightmare for anyone in the division.
If he beats Matt Brown, even he could make a case for getting a title shot.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that's it for the welterweight division. I would like to ask you about Ole Holm versus Misha Tate, because I think it's a really interesting matchup between those two. And we had the show with Ronda a few days ago on Ellen DeGeneres, and everybody is talking about it. And I felt for the first time, okay, that's nice that Ronda isn't fighting, that it's time to stop talking about her and let her do her stuff, focus on herself, out of the media, the Hollywood bubble, and let's focus on Holly Holm against Misha Tate. There is no animosity, there is a lot of respect and a lot of fear almost between them. What do you think, and how are you waiting for this event?
Well, I'm actually really excited for that fight because I think that Misha Tate has beaten everybody else besides Ronda Rousey. And I really think that she's so tough. She's like, there's something, even if she has physical disadvantages in a fight, even if she has disadvantages in technique, she still sometimes finds a way to win. Like, I was so impressed with her fight against Sarah McMahon last year, where Sarah McMahon hit her with a right hand in the first round and broke her orbital bone. Yeah. And she was in really bad shape. Listen, if someone broke my orbital bone, I would be running to the hospital immediately. And
so would we.
Tate came back, and she won the next 2 rounds, and she actually dominated Sarah McMahon in those the second and third rounds. I was so impressed by that. And Sarah McMahon is an Olympic-level wrestler, and Misha Tate out-grappled her in the second and third rounds. Super impressed. I'm a huge fan of the way that Misha Tate fights and her guile and her toughness, and she's such a veteran, and she's great in scrambles, and I really enjoy watching her fight because she may not be the most talented on paper, and she may not be the most athletic. She doesn't have the best striking. She doesn't have the best wrestling, but she finds a way to get it done, and she has all the intangibles.
And do you think she would be a better matchup to Holly than Ronda?
Different for sure. But at the end of the day, in striking, no one is touching Holly Holm. Yeah. If that fight stays standing, and it very well could, Holly Holm is going to win that fight, and probably in dominant fashion. I mean, she is just an incredible striker. There's no one in that division who has better technique and a better game plan and better execution of a game plan than Holly Holm. I mean, you can't fight a better fight than the fight she had against Ronda. I'm going to pick Holly Holm to win the fight because I think Rousey couldn't get Holm down. She had a very hard time, and I know that Misha's wrestling is different than Ronda's judo, but I'm not so sure if Misha can take Holly down either. Holly's really big. Misha Tate she said that she can make 125. She may be a more natural 125er. Holly Holm boxed at 150 something. She's very big. and she was stronger than Ronda, and I was very surprised by that.
It was shocking.
She'll be stronger than Misha too. She'll be a lot stronger than Misha. It'll be hard to get her down. I like Holly winning the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I do
It'll
like.
be a decision. I don't think. I'm not so sure if Misha gets finished in that fight though.
I do like Holly too. Yeah. Don't know about a finish, but I see Holly winning. I don't know about.
I think everyone see Holly winning after what she did to
Ronda.
Yeah. Ronda. Even though Misha Tate is a great opponent, and for sure it's better at overall than Ronda.
It's more complete, maybe.
More complete. I think it's Holly.
Holly all the way.
Yeah. Maybe we're gonna have a surprise, but I'm seeing Holly.
Hey, if you would have asked me on November 12th, who was going to win between Ronda and Holly, I would have said Ronda absolutely 100%. So what the hell do I know? Not much.
I feel like for now, Ronda has to go like Rocky in the
Rocky 4, like in the mountain.
And go alone, train for 1 year, and come back like a beast, all pumped.
Yeah, that's the solution. And so now we're going to go to a section. We had the World MMA Awards recently, and we would love to have the Raimondi MMA Awards now.
Oh man,
are you in?
Sure, let's do it. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
No.
It's okay.
For you, who was the fighter of the year
in 2015?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't not choose Conor McGregor, right? I mean, the guy went out and he beat Seaver in January, then he beat Mendez. The Mendez thing, it's a really weird situation because it was a new opponent on 2 weeks' notice, a completely different game plan type of situation. McGregor had probably a torn ACL, partially torn ACL, still won the fight, still finished him, battled back from adversity, and then he went out and knocked Aldo out in 13 seconds in December. It's hard to have a better year than that ever. I don't know if you can point to a better year in all of MMA better than that.
And I'd like to say just one thing, because it's very interesting what you said, and we talked about it, Sweb and I. On Ariel's show, he had Verdum, and everyone was totally understanding why Verdum pulled out against the Miocic fight. And I felt, listening to it, that retrospectively, no one appreciated what the Conor did when he took up the tremendous fight. Everyone was saying it's going to be the worst matchup for him, he's going to go down, we are finally going to show what is really made of Conor. And no one said, okay, it's a total change, new game plan, and he didn't add necessarily to take it. He could have refused as well as Verdun, and it wouldn't have been such a drama. But instead of it, not so many people praised him for what he did. What do you think about that?
And about Verdun pulling out.
What was that?
And about Verdun pulling out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why people didn't really give Conor credit is because people don't like him. I think that's really just what everything in this sport is shaped by whether or not people like you or not. And Conor doesn't get the credit that he deserves for being. Yeah, I mean, who could you really blame him if he said he didn't want to take that fight? No, you couldn't. No. But if he wouldn't have taken that fight, a lot of people would have come out and said, "Oh, Conor McGregor, he doesn't, he's all talk. He doesn't want to take on the tough challenges." So he went out there and he knocked out Mendez, and now people are still criticizing him. Nothing he can do is really going to change the people's minds who don't like him. That's just how it goes. As for Verdum, you're the champion, and your opponent changes like 10 days out. You have every right to say, I don't want to take that fight. You have every right to say, give me a few more months to prepare for that guy. Yeah. Maybe, Verdum was banged up. For sure, he had some injuries. Every guy has injuries going in. And he knew Kane. He fought Kane already. He knows how he fights. He knows the game plan. And maybe he just felt more comfortable going into that fight with those injuries than he would have been going into a fight with Stipe Miocic, with those injuries. I have no problem at all with what Verdum did. He's entitled to do that. Fans have a very skewed view of all this. I mean, I know these guys are fighters and these guys are supposed to be, just these tough like warriors. But this is not a video game, man. These are like real people. This is human stuff. I mean, Verdum has every right to do what he did, and I have no problem with that at all. Good for him. If that's what he feels he needs to do, then more power to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now, what about the fight of the year?
I mean, that's Lawler and McDonald, right? I mean, that fight was just insane. When those two guys, had that stare down at the end of the fourth round, I mean, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Being there in Vegas for that,
You were there?
Yeah, it was awesome. That was amazing.
Yeah. Great choice.
Okay, so now the coach of the year.
Coach of the year. That's a good one. That's a little bit harder. I think that there's a couple guys you could look at. You could say John Kavanaugh because of what McGregor did, but I would say Mike Winkeljohn. Honestly, I think that Winkeljohn with what he did with Holly Holm. No one thought Holly Holm was gonna win that fight. She is very much a student of Mike Winkeljohn. She's been training with him since she was 16 years old. She's 34 now. That's a long time, and everything that she knows is through him. And she went out there and knocked out the most dominant champion, in UFC history in the second round with the head kick in spectacular fashion. So I think that's a lot of that is Mike Winkeljohn. They also put together an incredible strategy for that fight, which is usually Greg Jackson's job. So that team and Winkeljohn deserve a ton of credit this year for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just a question about it, because my argument, I felt that like in soccer, when a football team in Europe wins the Champions League, generally the head coach is gonna be crowned the best coach of the year. Sure. And I wondered, how could you elected Conor McGregor best fighter of the year, that is totally legitimate, and not give it to John Kavanaugh, who is his trainer and works with him all day long and establish a game plan. I wanted to take your output on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from John Kavanaugh. He could have been coach of the year. That's fine. The reason why I say Winkeljohn is because I think that Holly Holm's 2015 was special, whereas I think McGregor, the whole body of work is special. Going back to 2014, coming into this year as well, I think McGregor is more of like a long-term thing where he's going to be very good for a very long time. Whereas I think that if you just want to say just 2015, I think Mike Winkeljohn did an incredible job with Holly Holm. But there's really no wrong answer. I wouldn't be upset if someone said it was Kavanaugh. I just felt like Mike Winkeljohn, especially for that one fight. That was also to be fair, Holly Holm was a massive underdog, massive, like one of the biggest. I mean, that was one of the biggest lines. One of the biggest difference in odds in UFC championship history. No one thought she was going to win that fight, and she pulled off the upset by finish. McGregor was never that big of an underdog. He was the favorite going into the Mendes fight. He was the favorite against Aldo, and it went back and forth a little bit, but I think maybe the line closed with Aldo being a very slight favorite. So those were going to be very close fights. No one thought Holly Holm stood a chance against Ronda Rousey, and she pulled off that win. So that's why I say Mike Winkeljohn, believing when no one else did, and teaching Holly Holm almost everything that she knows.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a question about coaches, just apart. How much blame does Edmond Tarvedian deserve for the loss?
Look, I mean, I think like anything else, I think a lot of people don't like Ronda Rousey, and they don't like Edmond Tarvedian. These are people that they say what's on their minds, and same thing like McGregor. He says what's on his mind, and he's won up until this point. If and when McGregor loses, because everyone does lose, man, the backlash against him is going to be incredible. There's going to be so many people going crazy.
Yeah.
They're going to be blaming Kavanaugh. They're going to be blaming McGregor. So I think that's kind of what happens here. Look. I mean, Ronda Rousey came as a judo Olympian. She was a bronze medalist in judo. She came in and she trained striking with Edmond Tarvedian. Look, until that Holly Holm fight, she looked amazing. I mean, she looked incredible. She beat everyone in seconds. She dominated everybody. And then she went in and she fought Holly Holm, and we all know what happened. She didn't look good in that fight. I thought some of the corner advice was sketchy.
Yeah, at the end of the first round. Yeah, we heard it.
But the thing is, no one knows their fighter better than the coach, right? So maybe Ronda Rousey responds to certain things better. Maybe it's not good to say, hey, you're screwing up. Maybe she responds better to praise, and he knows that, and no one would know that better than him. And some of the technical advice he was giving her was not bad. It made sense. A lot of things that he was saying made sense. a lot of people criticize him for saying, "Oh, beautiful, beautiful," but you don't know how. Maybe Ronda Rousey needs that. Maybe she needs to be told that she's doing well to further her confidence. You don't know. So I mean, I'm not inclined to completely bury him. I think there were a lot of things going on. Do I think he's the greatest coach in the world? No. I mean, I think that, he really only has one successful fighter. I thought Travis Brown looked okay in his last fight. I think that he seems fine under Edmonds. But I don't think he deserved a lot of the blame for the loss. I think that Ronda Rousey was trying to do way too many things. I think that she didn't really get a break last year at all. She was promoting stuff, fighting, movies, and then she went in and she fought an opponent that a lot of people thought she was gonna wreck. And I don't know if she came in completely 100%, mentally there in that fight. And we know now that Holly Holm is not someone you can do that with because she's incredibly dangerous. So. I guess to answer your question, I've already been long-winded, but I don't think he deserves, the brunt of the blame. I think he deserves blame, like any coach deserves blame when a fighter loses. But, are there better coaches out there? Of course there are. But Ronda Rousey was incredible under him before that. So only one fight can't wipe that whole thing away.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the real main issue about it is the arguing between her mother and her coach, sorry, just before the fight and after the fight, we heard it again. Having your mother, that was one of your coaches, and your head coach arguing publicly like that is the real issue, and that is what she had to deal with in the future, I think, to make a great comeback. She cannot have both not on the same page. Healthy. That's not healthy.
Yeah, absolutely not healthy. Yeah. And okay, last one. Who's your breakthrough fighter of the year?
Okay, this is actually a tough one, and it's something that I discussed with my colleagues when we were doing our awards at MMAfighting.com. A lot of people said Holly Holm, but I actually want to say Joanna Jędrzejczyk, one of your Europeans there. I think Joanna, because Holly Holm, she had a great year. She won 3 fights in the UFC, but everyone knew who Holly Holm was when she was signed by the UFC. Everyone, knew about her boxing background, and she was a champion, and she was one of the best women's boxers, really ever. She's won so many titles. So she was kind of a known commodity in a way. No one really heard of Joanna Jędrzejczyk coming into this year, to be honest with you. She had a win in July 2014, her debut, somewhat anonymously on the prelims of a Fox card. Then she went and she fought Claudia Gadelha in December 2014. And it was a very close fight. A lot of people thought that she lost that fight. No one really thought that she was going to become dominant champion. She fought Carla Esparza, and I thought Carla was going to win. Carla has, an incredible wrestling pedigree. She just won the Ultimate Fighter. She beat Rose Namajunas. I thought she would take Joanna down time and time again. Didn't happen. Joanna got in her head and then knocked her out in the second round and just obliterated her.
Yeah.
Then Joanna went out and obliterated Jessica Penne. Just bloodied her up and just decimated her for 3 rounds. I mean, it was 3 or 4 rounds. I mean, it was just ugly.
Yeah.
It was just like a horror movie. And then she went out and I thought she had a really technical performance against Valerie Letourneau to retain the title again. So 3 wins this year when really no one knew who she was coming into the year. And I mean, between before the fight against Esparza and after the fight, with all the media coverage she got and just her personality, she gained an incredible amount of popularity in that small amount of time. I got to give it to her. Holly Holm wouldn't be a bad choice, but I really think Joanna, she was anonymous coming into the year, and now she's super popular with the hardcore fans. She's a great champion. I think she's the one.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Surprising one because everybody said Holly, but I love the choice.
So, sorry, just to finish with, we're gonna do a quick Q&A for you. What would be your entrance song as a fighter?
Oh my God, entrance song as a fighter. I've honestly never thought about this.
A song that pumps you up, that gets you.
We talked to Brendan Gibson, and he said that he would have Ecstasy of God from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or movie Far West, or something.
That's a good one. You know what? I don't know.
A rap song, a rock song.
I'm trying to think of a good one. I'm not really a big music guy, honestly. It would probably be like some like '90s like punk rock, something weird like that. I don't even know. something from
like the Prodigy or something like that.
Something weird, like maybe the Ramones. The Ramones are from Queens, New York, and I'm from Queens, New York, so maybe something like that.
Okay, great, great job. And my question: what's your favorite combat movie?
Favorite combat movie? Maybe Rocky. Maybe Rocky 3, I would say, is my favorite combat movie.
I think it's his.
I'm not a huge fan of combat movies, though. Honestly, I always think they're
Van Damme, no.
I just always think they're not realistic. You know, I don't know. I'm a stickler for realism.
Until I saw the Lola McDonald, I didn't think it was realistic too. But now,
yeah, true.
Yeah, it's okay.
And what would be the gym you would have liked to train at?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would really love to go to Thailand and train with like traditional Thai, the Muay Thai fighters, and even though they would probably murder me, they would probably just I've trained in Muay Thai for a few years, so I think that's probably what I think that would be really cool to do that.
Yeah. Okay. And what would be your if you're in the instead of Joe Silva, the UFC matchmaker? What would be your dream matchup? The one you wanted to organize more than anything?
The one fight that I'd want to organize.
You can
more
pick
than
anyone, but no one older than 40, because after it's gonna be Shamrock against Garetzi, so something real.
Against no. I mean, I think the fight that I always wanted to see, and before I was even a journalist, I was a huge fan, and the fight that I always wanted to see was George St. Pierre against Anderson Silva. That was really the fight that, I mean, that's to me, that's still an incredible fight. I think that's a big one. Brock Lesnar versus Fedor would be epic, you know. But
who you got between George and Anderson Silva?
If it happened right now, or if it happened when they were in their primes?
Both.
I think if they were in their primes, I think Anderson would have won.
Yeah.
I do think he had a big size advantage. Right now, I think I would probably take George, honestly, but we haven't seen George fight in a while. But Anderson is certainly quite a bit older than he is, so yeah. I think he would win.
I think George now would win. Yeah, I do too.
I think it's probably, even though he hasn't fought in a couple of years.
Yeah,
but he seems in shape when you saw him. When you can see him on Instagram or.
And last question: what are your favorite NBA and NFL teams?
My favorite NBA team is the New York Knicks. I am a New Yorker.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, listen, I think they have a bright future with Porzingis.
No, Porzingis, yeah, absolutely.
And NFL team, I am a New York Giants fan.
Oh.
So I've got a couple Super Bowls in the last few years. Eli Manning has been quite good.
Yeah.
We just lost our coach just resigned, Tom Coughlin.
Tom Coughlin, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Great coach, but
that's it. Okay, so thank you very much, Marc Raimondi. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your kindness. And
that was great to have you here with us to promote MMA in France. So thank you really for your time.
Good luck.
And,
thank you.
Stay in touch, guys.
Enjoy the events to come. You have quite a few good ones who are coming soon. So enjoy and thank you again, Marc.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Au revoir. Bye.